In the first production diary, we looked at some initial poses, both bad and somewhat more successful, before ultimately focusing on just the face design. With that considered okay, it was time to return to the character and attach a body to the head, with an overall outfit design. The base outline pose was good, but it needed a little more tweaking. I was happy with the general proportions that established her as being around 6 heads tall, but wanted a pose which would work a little better with a front-on face design without going full-on flat T-pose. Once sorted, it was time to again hit the internet for some reference ideas for clothes that could work as a sword-wielding combat outfit. There was this one specific image that I felt had a lot of elements which could work very well for what I had in mind. So using the outline of the base pose, I started to design each element of the outfit, beginning with a sort of corset with hip flaps, a bit like what you see on some knights of old. A simple crop top is then added, which is then partly hidden by the half-length jacket which goes over the top. While not seen here, I do picture that there would be a hood at the back of the jacket. Given that this outfit is meant for combat, some forearm guards would be needed for extra protection and potential deflection. Some slightly loose-fitting pants are then added, along with knee pads. While normal shoes or boots could have been used, in keeping with the initial sword-fighting ninja concept, the internet once again comes up with references to some very appropriate split-toe shoes. This more or less wraps up the first initial outfit design, with the one final element missing, the swords and scabbards to put them in. We then add the face design and a little shadow for some extra depth, and end up with a pretty good starting design, all ready for further iteration and refinement. The first change was to get rid of the hip flaps. They just seemed too much of a medieval armour look and added too much visual weight to the hips. Additionally, from a practical point of view, the corset, which I envisioned would be made from a heavy type of leather, was directed horizontally instead of vertically, where it would lightly dig in and restrict bending and turning movement. The third iteration was only about a fake colour change. While not actually considering specific colours at this stage, the overall tonal range was being taken into account and things just started off way too light. Those keen-eyed may have noticed that the outfit designs actually had an older face design compared to the final image in the first production diary. That's because I technically went back and adjusted the face after having already started working on the overall pose. In keeping with the taller and thinner change of the face, the hips were also brought in, which in turn highlighted the fact that the legs, especially the lower part, are just too short and needed to be a bit longer. Then, once again, the face was adjusted, with the eyes lowered to be more central, while the straps holding the sword scabbards were just too thin for the weight they supported. At this stage, I felt the design was good enough to move on. However, I was starting to have serious concerns over my basic Ninja Sisters story idea. I needed a new direction. But we will explore that in the next production diary. If you like this look behind the scenes and want to see more, or have specific questions or requests, then please click the usual YouTube buttons and/or leave a comment below. If not, that's perfectly fine, and I hope to see you for the next one. Cheers.